Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here and welcome back to another Division video. Now, as well as Survival hitting the PTS today, we also got patch 1.5 again in the PTS, and shortly after both of those went live, we also got the full patch notes, which gives us a complete breakdown of all the new stuff added, the changes, the nerfs, the buffs, the new gear, weapons, anything like that. So in this video, I want to recap the most important things and tell you guys 5 things you definitely need to know about Survival and patch 1.5. Of course, if you guys do want to see the complete patch notes and take a look at some of the bug fixes, some of the balancing changes, anything like that, then as always, I will link them down below. Plus, if you guys want to know more about Survival, then I put up some videos speaking about Survival earlier on today, so you can find those over on the channel. I will also link those down below. But for the time being, let's focus on some of the new stuff coming to the game. So if you do enjoy this, a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below if you have any questions, but let's kick things off with number 5, and that is a brand new world tier. A lot of people have been asking, now that 1.4 has dropped and they've started working towards their finely tuned min-maxed 229 gear set build, they've been asking what is next. Is there going to be a new challenge? They're blitzing through level 33 enemies, so what is next? And the answer is World Tier 5. World Tier 5 will be available to players of gear score 230 and above, and yes, that does mean, of course, given that the current cap is gear score 229, there is also going to be a gear score increase. The new cap for gear score will be 256, and World Tier 5 will also see the addition of level 34 NPC. So that's going to be the new thing to aim for. Yes, I appreciate it might be a little bit frustrating if you've been working to min-max your 229 gear set build, but this is what you're now going to need to aim for. It's also worth mentioning that heroic incursions will now only be available in Tier 5, because of course prior to that they were available in the utmost difficulty. Now heroic incursions will be reserved for World Tier 5. It's also worth noting that they're making a change to the vendors. Vendors are now going to be adaptive based on your gear score and not the world tier, which is actually really annoying. It was a really cool system. It's something that we've all been doing since the beginning of 1.4, whereby you can jump between different world tiers to change the gear score of the items that are sold, which of course means if you want to buy a gear score 163 weapon for, say, an alpha bridge build, or you want to buy, say, a cheaper mod because you don't necessarily need a level 33 mod, something like that, it's actually a really useful system. However, going forward, the vendors will now adapt to your gear score irrespective of your world tier. So even if you drop down to world tier 1 but your gear score 229 or 256, then the vendors will sell you things that are applicable. Now in some respects that's useful because of course it means that provided you're geared, all the vendors will be useful to you. But on the flip side, if you do want to get some low gear score stuff, then that is going to be a bit of a problem. I'm not entirely sure just yet as to whether you can just change your gear and drop down, or whether the game will, much like it has done in the past, intelligently work out your gear score based on what's in your inventory. So that is something I will have to test, but for the time being, that is a change coming in 1.5. Then moving over to number 4, PvP changes. So one of the things that we knew was coming in 1.5 is the notion of enemy armor damage functioning in PvP. This has been added this time around, so we can go and test it out. And the damage calculation in PvP ignores a percentage of the target's armor equal to 1/3 of the shooter's enemy armor damage. So that's currently the value they're going with. Now do bear in mind when they spoke about this before, this value is server side, so they can change this if it doesn't feel appropriate. But currently, if you have, say, 20% enemy armor damage, then the damage calculation will ignore 1/3 of that percentage. However, in light of that, they have also made it so that enemy armor damage is now a major bonus on armor as opposed to a minor bonus. And of course, as a result of that, if you're speccing for something like PvP, then you're going to have to make some slightly more drastic choices with regards to major bonuses. Furthermore, they've updated it so that enemy armor damage can now roll on backpacks, masks, knee pads, holsters, and gear mods. The roll values have been lowered to compensate for the fact that it can roll on more items, and rolls on existing knee pads will be scaled to the appropriate values, but note that enemy armor damage will still be considered a minor bonus on existing knee pads. Also, enemy armor damage will be removed from existing masks and replaced with another minor bonus. However, it doesn't end there. One of the other weapons I'm sure you guys are very much aware of that has a bonus that is not applicable in PvP are the shotguns. They have stagger, which up until now only works in PvE. They're also going to be testing out stagger in PvP, and high stagger weapons like shotguns and marksman rifles will now cause targets' aim to flinch. So if you're aiming at someone and they shoot you with a shotgun or a marksman rifle and it causes you to stagger, then it's going to shake your aim, flinch your aim. So that is of course going to be an interesting thing added to PvP. Then in at number 3, they're now going to be adding named gear pieces. Now it's important to differentiate, these are not gear sets, these are named gear pieces, so think of them like the gear piece equivalent of named high ends. They are special items that'll come from unique sources. As it currently stands, I don't know where they come from, so that is something I'm going to have to do some work on, work out where they come from, and of course then I'll report back to you guys. But These all come with a special bonus that you won't get anywhere else, and they'll of course have their own unique look as well, but they are things that you can slot into your build, and they will give you standalone bonuses and not hinge on having to have, say, a complete set or something like that. So there are 6 items in total, 1 for each of your armor piece slots. In the mask slot, you will have Pharaoh's Oxygen Mask, where players can move and shoot while under the burn status effect. Under the knee pads, there are the Shortbow Championship pads, where grenades have shortened fuse timers. The holster is Colonel Bliss's holster, where you gain powerful improvements for sidearms. It doesn't specify what those powerful improvements are, but that's what it currently states. Under the gloves, you have these Skull MC gloves, which give you increased damage when no gear set bonuses are active. So of course, if you are going to have a mismatched build, then you will be able to benefit from these. The chest piece is Barrett's Bulletproof, where you get powerful bonuses when skills are on cooldown, which is actually useful, contrary to the skill that you get with, say, the G36, which requires that you have your skills off cooldown for the damage boost. This is actually useful given that most of the time you're going to be using your skills. And finally, for the backpack, you have the Ninja Bike Messenger Bag, which gives you less DZ loot and DZ XP lost when dying in the Dark Zone. So that is effectively like the Banshee perk, only on one piece of armor. So that's actually pretty cool. Then moving over to number 2, of course there is a new gear set and a couple of gear set changes. So under the new gear set side of things, they're going to be adding the Frontline set, which currently has a different name in game, but that's probably just a placeholder for the time being. I spoke about this and I showed it to you guys in passing in my most recent video that's just gone up, but in short, your 2-piece set bonus for the Frontline gear set is plus 15% protection from elites, your 3-piece bonus is plus 30% ballistic shield health, and your 4-piece set bonus is that it allows the use of an SMG if one is equipped when you have a ballistic shield deployed. However, to balance this out, the SMG crit chance is then reduced to 0%, so it effectively allows you to run with a shield and an SMG. Super exciting. I'm halfway to completing that set, so once I do have it, I will of course follow up with a more in-depth video. However, a couple of small gear set changes. Under Hunter's Faith, your 3-piece talent for the headshot bonus has been reduced from 20% to 10%, and for final measure, your 4-piece, grenades can now be picked up every 8 seconds instead of every 15, so that makes that slightly more useful. And then finally, under the weapon side of things, there are a total of 16 new weapons, 12 base weapons and 4 new named high-ends. And according to the patch notes, these weapon types can only drop in World Tier 5, however, they also come from survival, so if you're getting caches at the end and you're opening those caches, then you can get some from there. You also can buy some from the vendors around the safe houses located around the map. But your list is as follows: the MG5 light machine gun, the infantry MG5 light machine gun, the FAMAS assault rifle, the Model 700 marksman rifle, the M700 tactical marksman rifle, and the M700 carbon marksman rifle, the converted USC submachine gun, the police UMP-45 submachine gun, the tactical UMP-45 submachine gun, the snub-nosed Rhino pistol, the Rhino pistol, and the Rhino special pistol. Those are your 12 base weapons, and under the 4 named high-end weapons, these are available at various gear scores depending on your source. You have the Golden Rhino, the Urban MDR assault rifle, the Tommy gun, and the Thompson M1928. And that, my friends, is pretty much it. Those are 5 of the most important things you need to know about patch 1.4 and survival. If you guys have any more questions, by all means let me know in the comments down below. Of course, if you do want to read all the patch notes for yourself, then of course you can also find those linked down below. But for the time being, thank you for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.